flexibility with where you want to move it. I feel like something like the Dawnbreaker probably might have been a better option, but maybe that would leave, for example, the Nyx Assassin as a... Well, actually, no. Why
Another
haven't it then? Damn, close. It's not close at all.
Very close.
All right, what do we got here? I'm just keen to see what
Scam
builds...
started boots.
Okay. That's an interesting one. Does he think he's not going to be able to trade all that well, and so he needs to constantly position himself in the lane? I mean, again, he's most likely going to be into the Dawnbreaker lane.
Maybe they swap? Maybe he goes against the monkey?
Maybe.
Because then you get the...
30 seconds to
I don't know if I would particularly hate that.
And Naman's actually got Shadow Walk leveled up level 1 as well. So no immediate Janata. Of course, this isn't necessarily the game for it. No matter what lane you go into, you don't want to be in melee range. Against a Monkey King Tusk, you're going to die. Against a Lina, you're going to die. Against a Visage, you're going to die. So expect him to play a lot more on the outskirts as possible.
The battle begins.
Shanks has to be a little careful here, though. Yoink. I'm just thinking what's his build going to be as well. I think when he's been playing in pubs, the majority of the time he goes at the very least an Urn. Sometimes he goes Spirit Vessel, and it's not a bad Spirit Vessel game. You know, Dawnbreaker, Monkey King, multiple heal abilities to be reduced, and even just with the Urn against the Visage, it's nice for that ticking damage over time. Also, on the Tusk, gets rid of the Blink if you're able to lay out that damage over time onto him.
They're tri-laning. Alright, let's see what they can do. Roger's gonna pop out.
Target Palos.
Really nicely done. That mischief dodge stops a little bit of the damage from the Stormhammer.
I mean, this is the hero that we see be left on their own the majority of the time during tri-lanes, though, isn't it? The Pangolier. You might not get a ton of last hits, but you're always going to get that experience just because of the amount of survivability and maneuverability that you've got around the map.
Are we expecting them to keep Shanks down bottom for a little bit of time, then for him to rotate? Or what are the thoughts on Execration? As Palace is in some trouble. Carlo trying his best, but the body blocks and the mischief dodge won't be there this time. Scam was able to catch up with that early boots.
The boots coming in clutch already. You're paid for themselves, essentially, with that that first blood picked up. And, well, I wonder if this will change. You know, they still feel like they could keep Force down here. He's already level 2, so not going to be worried all that much about staying away from the lane, even just taking up Shanks' time with some high fives. And how's mid lane going? I mean, Cox could at least shove that lane in with the Shadow Rays against Bob. Not too much kill potential, though. Maybe if the Bounty Hunter was to make a rotation with the Orb of Venom plus the level 1 Shadow Walk with the movement slow, you add that on top of the Shadow Rays stacking slows, and maybe you get the kill, but it would need to be pretty damn quick, as well, he's actually going to have to move away from the Water Rune to secure the other one. So, understandably, Bob with a bit of an early start here.
I think there's a potential for both the Tusk and the Bounty Hunter from either side to rotate mid.
Yeah.
Maybe by that next Water Rune timing. Speaking about the Bounty and Tusk in particular, Carlo's in some trouble and should be able to get in front of him. Although the snowball on top of the Crete Wave, very nicely done from Carlo. So, bottom lane Force might end up going down. Max range out of the Swashbuckler, he's going to be chilling, so they're actually going to finally look to try and TP the Bounty Hunter down to bottom, but trying to get out of this.
It's one of those small things where, you know, previously the cast range on the Celestial Hammer was a lot more uniform across all levels, but now just level 1 700 range makes it a lot harder. Otherwise, probably would have been able to convert that kill, solo kill for Shanks onto Force there. Now, the question is Force a little bit too far behind now as a result of that start to the game? You never want to give a Visage a really good start. Most of the time you see them get out of the laning stage a little bit behind just because you don't have the greatest strength for last hitting up until you've got those familiars available. But Shanks has basically allowed Tino to farm completely uncontested, so it's not going to be as big of an issue for him. So his power spike's going to be even bigger, and we both mentioned how vital Tino was going to be if Execration was going to turn this series back around and go to a game 5. Here's that rotation though. Narman moving towards mid. Cox with plenty of mana, but might want to wait for that level 5. Oh, Bob. Is he in a little bit of trouble? Shouldn't be. Worst case scenario, he could just TP away, considering no Shuriken available. They do stop the water rune pickups, though, which is quite nice.
Courier? Okay, Shanks at least gets his item. Courier's not even going to die as well. The bottom lane's not looking too fun for Force at all, but I guess top as well, the Monkey King is struggling. Only 14 last hits for the carry on Execration. He's only level 3 as well, so Shanks just gonna go in. Doesn't land the stun onto Force, but the swashbuckle at the last seconds able to get him out of danger. They'll turn to Narman, and he will just be in sentry range for the Soul Assumption to connect. So Execration will find their first kill of the game.
Money to burn.
It's one of those risks of going the bounty hunter, right? If you're just able to basically not make any lane for him good to be able to go into, then he does drop off massively in effectiveness. It's one of those heroes that really doesn't offer too much once you get to the later stages of the game. I know it's not necessarily quite as bad as a support compared to a core if you're, having a rough time in the lane, but it still doesn't feel good to effectively be playing one man down as Force might be in a bit of trouble again.
Can use the swashbuckle to get away. They're actually going to TP Skem down. They'll hold Tino into place, and of course, he tried the Iron Branch to get out of the Sprout, but unfortunately not going to position him out fast enough, or far enough, I should say. So very nicely done. And now Force might look to go occupy top.
Have to get back, regen all of that HP and mana. They even got the sentry D-ward off on the bottom lanes, so Narman just feels a little bit more safe to be able to play around that side. Also, another good job of camping these power runes. Cox acting as a little bit of bait here with Narman picking up the Invis rune right in front of Carlo's face. That's really nicely done. A lot of the time, if it's a mid laner without the necessary kill threat at this stage, you might say, well, as the roaming support, you really want your core to go to the other side just to guarantee that you're going to pick up the rune. But they took the 50-50. They said, we're going to have a +1 if it did indeed spawn bottom. Used the Shadow Fiend as bait for a potential kill, and that's what it resulted in. So another good start coming through for Cox.
They're gearing up for a dive. Although it's Execration that want to try and use the Laguna Blade to bring down Cox, but the Stormhammer holds Bob into place. Cox with the early Requiem use as well. It'll actually get him out of danger thanks to the fear, and now they're looking for Carlo as well. Skem's Nature's Prophet, dude. It's such a treat to watch. He's everywhere, always looking for an opportunity to be active in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, this is pre-level 6 as well, so it's not like he could toss out that Wrath of Nature for the additional burst of damage. And yeah, Cox got away on 5 HP there. The importance of the tread switching coming through. That switch to strength was enough to be able to get him back to safety.
It's a very crafty level in the Requiem as well. Really would not expect it from a Shadow Fiend at this level. And well, for the Lina, when you look at this hero, pretty much a Laguna Blade very often is a guaranteed kill. So the fact that Bob is able to bring down the Shadow Fiend is going to stall out a little bit of his net worth progression.
Going straight into that Dragon Lance, realizing he needs to be the one to do a lot of this tower taking, of course. Realizing that big strength point of the level 15 with the Siege, when it's eventually going to be up and online, going to sync up quite well with the Sven, you would assume, getting into that Aghanim Shard and making it very, very hard for Execration to eventually defend that.
Skem had a 7-minute 30 Treads and Midas. Very wild.
And it got all the way through to the last pick
Yeah.
for Geekfam.
I'd love
As
to
the most successful hero of this entire series.
I'd love to see him look to try and TP top and play with this Pango Rolling Thunder. I think that is a very easy kill into the Monkey King and should be able to open up the tower.
Man, they've still got the siege creep. It's 8.5 minutes and it's still there.
Oh, wow.
So absolutely.
Just gonna make sure that Roger doesn't soak up too much experience. Meanwhile, bottom lane Tino just did pick up the Vlads as well, so Geek Slate do also have to be very cautious of how they kind of spread their resources across the map, because Execration, they can put a lot of damage into this tower.
He's coming top. Oh, baiting out the TPs. Are they actually going to convert onto this one? Doesn't seem 100% convinced, but eventually you'll look to commit that one there as Palace hops out of the trees. Oof.
Double damage.
Using those creeps there to be able to soak up a few of those tower hits.
Palos.
Just hanging nearby and... Ooh,
Nice
will
boundless.
he be able to get away?
Yes, he will.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Still though, he's not really doing that much up here. It's another bit of time where Palace is unfortunately
coming.
just been forced to stay.
Bob's going to be able to connect as well. Force moves in aggressively. Can he get the ultimate off? Would just be able to, and now can bounce back off for the shards as well, but it's awkward positioning because Bob is on the other side. They'll still be able to bring him down, and now Skem's in trouble as a boundless strike will stop his TP short. Great movements coming out from Execration. They won't be able to defend their tower, but they will be rewarded with 3 kills going their way.
Yeah, he was actually locked inside of those ice shards as well, so really nice play coming through from Carlo because it allowed Bob to just stand there and right-click him as the leaner. Eventually does pay with his life, but a big portion of that damage coming through was on the back of the leaner, and any time that you could just allow her to stand and right-click with the power of that fiery soul, it's going to be successful for you. Again, baiting that regen route. Narman waiting for the very last second, and now even just wasting all of Bob's bottle charges. So, Narman, you can put him on a hero that doesn't necessarily have that huge teamfight impact, but the game impact's always going to be there. Solar?
They cut down the tree of Paolo, so Shanks was forced to Solar Guardian in. Gonna be able to get out of the Sprout as Roji playing with the Storm Hammer, but doesn't particularly see an opening to use it, so pretty nice that they forced out at least the ultimate of the Solar Guardian.
Middle tower is under attack.
In the meantime, Bob just put a little bit of pressure onto that mid lane. Of course, even without the bottle, he's got that Falcon Blade with the regen to be able to play around with Fairy Trinket. For a little bit less of the mana cost, but they really want to get this kill.
Palace boundless strike! Oh, just too late.
Just able to get back to safety, and they're just pulling him around the map once again. Very healthy creep wave on this bottom side with the Treants, with the Siege creep as well. There aren't too many heroes that they've got on Execration to be able to deal with this.
Shanks is kind of one of them though. With 3 points in the Celestial Hammer, it will help out with kind of de-pushing some of the waves, so I was taking a lot of damage, and it's actually going to be a smoke up to the top side of the map here from Geek Slate. Cox and Roji, in combination together, they're going to be able to pair up with Narman as well, who does have the track to work with. Needs to start getting the damage going to cancel Palos' escape, and just be a little bit too late at doing so. Palos should be fine. Very nicely done.
Just able to get out to safety. Just a split second slow on the right click there from Narman. Otherwise, the Primal Spring wouldn't have been able to get off into the trees. Actually pump faking the use of that Requiem of Souls, just in case anyone decided to come a little bit too close. Are they in a position to be able to take this mid tower, though? I still don't think so. As Narman, like we were expecting, looking to go into that Spirit Vessel, just realizing again the power of it against this team. Damage over time against the Tusk Blink Dagger for the Monkey King and Dawnbreaker, reduces the healing, and of course any kind of damage over time, always going to be great against the Visage. Most of the time he gets a Lotus Orb after that, so should be pretty decent as well.
Bottom lane.
For you to dodge out.
Shanks has got Palace nearby. They might not be ready for the potential Wukong's command. As Palace actually leaps inside the lane, Boundless going to be able to hold them down. But Force might be able to set up for the retreat. However, the shards stops that in its tracks. Number of the familiars as well means that Cox can't play around with the Requiem. They were able to get the last bounce back, but the chain control is so perfect that the Requiem is not a potential at all, and no Execration can pounce on forward for more. Force has got the damage mitigation to play with. If he got a swashbuckle in aggressively, he'll get the kill, but he will not escape. However, they might be able to get Palace at least. Stuck inside the southern side of the tree line, but there's going to be no damage that Geek Slate can play with, as a mischief from Palos gives you an opportunity to turn up, chuck down the Boundless Strike, but he will still die, however. As Skem, he wants some revenge now. Roger gets involved as well, for another kill goes the way of Geek Slate. In the end, Not the worst engagement.
Oh, don't you love that? You do everything right in a team fight, and then the Nature's Prophet just presses R and then cleans you up with the very end. I mean, so many times he was trying to get that Shuriken toss off with so many targets tracked, and it would have been enough to get the clean kill, a bunch of track gold as well over to his team, which would have been huge. They've already got the net worth lead, but I mean, just anything that's going to catapult you a little bit further into the advantage, it's going to be big. I mean, you get into that BKB on the Shadow Fiend, there's really nothing that they can do outside of the Walrus Punch to be able to stop you.
No, I'm in good positioning. Even sidesteps the Boundless Strike as well, but they will also be rewarded with the kill. So, Execration. How are we feeling with the status quo of this game? Because Geekslate have this Bounty Hunter, but it's only a 1,000 net worth lead for them.
I think it's still okay. You know, he hasn't finished the Spirit Vessel just yet, hasn't even gotten one of the secondary components. It's not quite yet that 15-minute mark, so Sven still a couple of minutes away from being able to pick up the Warcry, Aghanim Shard, and I think BKB for the Sven, for the Shadow Fiend again, are the big timings that they're looking to wait for. So it's just about delaying out for that stage. Probably around the 17-minute mark is when Geekslate are wanting to make their big plays happen. Although, you just have to question, how ready will Execration be? Because we've got BKB coming shortly for Bob as well. You've got Wraith Pact already finished up for Tino. He'll have his level 12 probably by that stage. So it really is going to be just coming down to that execution. Both teams playing so closely.
Yep. And Execration always would love a fight around a choke point where they get full usage out of the Wukong's shards as well to be able to block off a lot of the avenues in and out of these team fights. And items galore being
Paolo's
picked
been
up.
playing so well.
That he has. Been a good performance from him so far. Paolo, level 8. What's he got coming down on the corridor? Top lane? Palos?
Not much.
Cautious. Narman's waiting for him to jump so he can get that track.
Taking the most common path. I'm surprised he's not starting to just cut a few trees down, to be honest.
Oh, he's going to go for the kill. Into the Solar Guardian. Cox is pretty beefy with the stats he's been able to build up, and now with the point blank
No way.
Requiem. Cox just survives. Range rods and strength treads is all he needed.
Tower is under attack.
Oh, it's the little things, right? They make the biggest difference, even holding onto the pig pole for all of those extra stats, providing him that survivability, getting him closer and closer towards that BKB, and what a turnaround.
They might be able to defend bottom. Will go down. Force was in the tree line, and they had the Nature's Prophet teleport, but they're happy with just sacrificing that one.
Tino is still very scary at this stage. Despite what we just saw, I think he is the greatest damage output in this game right now. So it's just about making sure that you're playing around him, you're respecting the damage that they've got, and making sure that his lead isn't going to be given away too easily. I think the familiars were just resummoned as well, so he wants to play a little bit more conservatively for the next 100 or so seconds until he's able to have that resummon available for a team fight.
You said, did you say 17 or 18 minutes? Regardless of the timing you said there. Was Swashbuckle back towards the tower. Lob's going to play with the double damage rune and with the BKB as well. He might even consider about Narman, but the detection will be lacking, so first use of the BKB of the game for Bob rewards him a nice little kill onto Force, but for Geekslate, they are getting very close to their own BKBs. One more component on the Shadow Fiend, and also Scam is very close to his, only needs 700 gold?
Yeah. I said 17 or 18 minutes, so looks like Execration have hit theirs. Timing just that little bit faster. Obviously, the net worth lead is still in Geekslate's favor, but they can be feeling very confident about taking these fights now on Execration. 40 seconds left on the new familiar summon. Holding on to a lot of gold on Tino. That's the one thing that I suppose I would be a little bit concerned about, is that he isn't using the majority of this big net worth advantage that he's got over a lot of the other heroes. He's starting to build into that AC for sure. Even just the casual plate mail will do wonders for him.
Bottom lane might have the fight break out. So what happened last time, Force getting killed underneath the tower. They've got a ward on the cliff as well, so it's going to be able to potentially scout out a lot of information here for Execration to work with, but they won't stick around in the lane. They just continue continuing to be happy with all the farm they're getting across the map.
What is Tino buying? He's got to get something with all this money.
Sure,
like a
it's
waste.
an AC scam. Might be in some trouble. He's gone really far forward. Can he be? Well, he can't even TP up with the Walrus Punch. It's got Roger nearby to help out. It's a great placement of the shards. The boys are starting to come though. Scam, own use of the Sprout. Is Force going to be fast enough for the Rolling Thunder? Scam still alive. Stunned to hold him down. Scam might not die. Oh my lord, he lives.
Oh man, this just shows how big of a pussy I am, because I would have been out of there as soon as that Walrus Punch was used. Get out of the Wukongs and then immediately TP, but just the trust that he's got in the rest of the team is insane, and they're able to turn that one out. Some of it's luck, of course, getting that lucky shot proc onto both of them. Just the level 1, but that's all you need.
They might get Bob as well. He's stepping really far forward.
They'll have to give this one up, it seems. Tino eventually working towards that AC. Still 1,000 or so gold away, but Geekslate, they really played on the edge, didn't they? And what a big gain for them coming through. 3 kills, Roshan secured. That's even without taking that tier 1 tower mid.
I got the Ages onto Cox to work with, who has an Assault Cuirass queued up here. Or Shadowfiend, so I don't hate it at all, considering a lot of the damage from Execration will be physical. A lot of minus armor as well. Palos into the Desolator. You mentioned about the AC on the Visage and the eventual level 15 as well. Not to mention.
Speaking of level 15, Cox just hit it. So right now he just wanted to max out his abilities for now.
Bottom lane,
Not
Palos.
quite ready.
Wrath of Nature gets the damage required to stop him from leaping into the tree line, and if they need it as well, Force was also nearby just to help out, so that kill might be able to open up the tier 1 mid. You see instantly Execration gonna look to shove it out. Cock could be really cautious with the position. If he does show Carlo is ready to go, they just get the vision to jump over. They got the ward on the high ground, but Cox, zero hesitation. A BKB instantly popped, and they will not be able to continue on for the Shadowfiend kill. And now it puts Tino in an awkward position. Shanks is going to be able to fly in with a Solar Guardian, so Tino can retreat, but I don't think Shanks is going to be able to make it out. As Force will cut off him in the path. Even Naman's pursuing on. They've got the Spirit Vessel, so Tino not as tanky as what he would hope. Naman's going to be pretty cautious, so maybe Bob's the one that's in trouble. A BKB protect him for the moment. We'll be able to get back to the safety of the T2 tower.
Just out of range of that Sprout there, and, well, this time around, Palace not showing up to that team fight, still looking to prioritize that farm, realizing against a lot of these early BKBs, you want to be able to do that damage, either just through your right clicks, through the Wukong's damage with the Desolator, and, well, you just got to hope that you're not giving up too much of that map, right? And you don't want to invest too heavily whenever you're going up against this Aegis, but now you've hit that really scary timing on Cox, where he's hit that level 16 mark, and he's going to be able to pair together with the rest of his team. I don't even know if he needs to wait for the AC. Like, you can realistically just make a play happen right now as soon as Naman comes back alive.
Yeah, they're not really a lineup that is dependent on cooldowns at all. Really, the biggest one is the Rolling Thunder, and Pink already has that one back up and available. They might be setting up on Palos. This time he's going to be able to get into the tree line, so they don't have the greatest vision, though, from Geekslate inside Execration's kind of top jungle, so might be a bit difficult for them to set up a push-up here and an eventual fight. I think they might have to maybe smoke there or give a ward over to Narman so he can get a deep observer down.
Something needs to change, right? You're 8k down. You've taken a couple of fights now that you thought would work out so much better than they actually did. Maybe it's just because you're not as strong as you think you are. Shanks, he's not quite yet level 12. Tino, he's just got the AC, but he doesn't have his level 15. They're going to go for the smoke regardless, wanting any little spike in damage to be able to use their full advantage. I mean, Scam's the one they want.
See Bob,
but...
he Dragon Slaved straight on top of him. And Force, he's going to be in with the Rolling Thunder inside a great position to bounce back. Carlo's actually going to get pushed to the higher ground, but he will go down nonetheless. And they're going to look for more, though. Bob's not an easy kill. He can turn with the BKB. The Wukong's command as well is going to be layered down. They're going to try and bring down Narman, but a lot of damage mitigation coming out thanks to the mechanism. They're going to finally be able to secure the kill, but can they continue on for more? They expend a lot with the first round. They're going to go to Cox inside the river with the Gleipnir. Now Skem, he can freely right-click on the high ground.
They can kill him twice.
And it looks
very,
like they should be
easily.
able to. As Geekslate, nothing they can do to protect him on the respawn as Execration withstand the age's advantage. You get multiple kills throughout that fight.
I mean, there was one big difference in that team fight for Miners. That's just that for whatever reason, Geekslate stood inside of that Wukong's and just said, you know what, we're going to fight against this Monkey King. But whenever you've got a very physical-oriented lineup, you cannot afford to do that. So much attention was given over to the Monkey King, who was benefiting from that plus 19 armor. That plus the AC, plus the Wraith Pact, which survived for a big portion of it, swings the game back and gives Execration a shot.
Now they're starting to respawn, lads. Might have to think about backing yourself out of this area. Look at Skem. Oh, that's an aggressive TP, but it's going to pay off huge as Force holds the Visage down to the high ground and Carlo sack his own life.
Can't even get the resummon off for the resummon, so more and more free gold just immediately given back. Just overstaying their welcome a little bit. I mean, they don't have the strongest push, at least until that Desolator is present in a lot of these engagements on Palace. And, well, looks like he's wanting to wait for the Wukongs to be up until he potentially goes for a kill onto Cox, but he'll have to back off.
What's
he going next on Roger?
Ooh.
Wing tagger, huh? Really wants to catch that Visage, I think. Or the Lina.
He's pretty farmed, honest. I guess a lot of it helps from the bounty hunter. 2-1-12. Pretty good game from Roger so far. Got a gem as well for them to work with. They're setting up top, but Monkey is already teleported out of the neighborhood, so maybe they'll just look for the full push around.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing really stopping them from going up into this tier 2 tower top, right? You've got 2 minutes left on Roshan. If you push and take it, then it's secured for you next time. If you lose it, it's still far enough away that you're going to be able to go for a secondary attempt. And we mentioned their relatively low cooldowns as well on Geekslate. So nothing really stopping them from making that play if they were truly wanting to.
Do we feel like the blink on toss is going to change a little bit of how the fights, the dynamic of these fights now?
I would say probably the biggest thing would be like the snowballs through whoever gets sprouted might be the biggest difference, just to remove them from being locked in place. Of course, you've got a Hurricane Pike on the Lina, so that's a little bit of maneuverability, but no one really else that's capable of that repositioning. So I'd say that's probably going to be the biggest requirement from Carlo this game, and he's been turning up, so I think he's got the stuff.
Well, they're starting to assemble their forces down at bottom. And giving them the vision, but they... Palace in the tree line, Force. Just running into him. Palace is going to go for it. He is. They get the stun before Force is able to find the ultimate as Shakes. Lands a huge combo, but it doesn't matter. Requiem, Gleipnir sends them packing. Can they get more though, Geekslate? Skem, an aggressive TP into the middle, a preemptive use of the BKB before the LSA, as Bob's going to be forced to try and move out to the right side, and Skem, he can now stand strong at get the right clicks going. As Bob, the sole survivor, be able to slip out into the nighttime with the Lina. What a defense coming out from Geekslate, and I believe all they needed was one buyback. Who are they using?
Yep, on the 5, Sven. That was the buyback, and well, that was actually, I believe, the reveal of the Silver Edge as well, coming through from Skem, so not really needing to worry about that Gravekeeper's Cloak so much, getting the break off.
He popped BKB prior. He's only got Pike to work with, but Shadowfiend very, very slow to connect.
They'll know that they've got a Sentry Ward around there as well. Narman still got connected onto with that single right click that Bob threw out, so he'll know where's safe to play and where not to. Just constantly checking around that Roche pit. About a medium respawn, 1 minute away. Shadowfiend up to that level 20, going into a Hurricane Pike of his own, just to be able to kite around.
Skem might be in trouble. He too doesn't have BKB. This is very aggressive farming patterns out of Skem, and he'll be condemned for that. I'm trying to make sure he does not do that again.
You know, going that deep is how he got this far ahead. So, you know, occasionally you'll overextend, but it happens. This is pretty big, though. Might open up that tier 2 tower on the bottom side for them. No Nature's Prophet is a big reduction in damage. I really don't feel like Cox wants to use the BKB for that purpose. I think he wants to make sure that it's secured for the next Roche fight. Having an additional Aghanim Shard on the team could be huge for them, especially on a Shadow Fiend to, you know, with all of that extra damage from the level 20 plus the crit. It's pretty big.
A tower gives Palos enough gold for the BKB, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to kill the Monkey King. He's almost got level 18 as well for extra armor inside the Wukong's really an important thing. Minus 20 second in the cooldown's also going to be nice as well. See what they can do with the smoke though on Execration. Gonna try and pivot their forces over.
They need something for free here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Palos sleeping through the trees.
Of course, that's pretty deep.
Radiant structures are fortified.
If not, send them
they're
back.
even gonna consider using the Visage Familiars just with that AC and the Wraith Pack buff to be able to take out the tier 2 tower, prevent a few more of those TPs for the reinforcements towards this next Roche fight. And now Bob needs to back off entirely. Wants to be farming inside of his own jungle. No fiery soul stacks, and he's playing very close. Doesn't get punished for picking up that haste rune. It's a full smoke.
That it is.
Money to burn.
It's one of those instances where you probably wanted to go the full wraparound. Carla was in position to be able to blink away anyway, but they just walked up to an area that they have minimal vision of, and they got nothing out of it. So it's a bit of a standoff out front of this Roche pit. I'd say that's going to favor Execration. Again, they're the ones that have the Desolator. Even the Tusk, if he wants to blink in with a tag team to speed this one up, doesn't even need to use the blink.
This doesn't look like too much of a standoff anymore with Roche going down. No one's nearby, Geekslate.
That shard.
Sean has fallen to the dark.
Yeah, this is great. It's going to allow him to close that gap onto Nature's Prophet in particular so much quicker.
Alright. Well, Geekslate, they're gearing up for an eventual push down mid, but Execration want to try and get their lanes in a better position before they go for this attempt. And danog, we saw in game 2, keep in mind, that was the Bounty Hunter draft that Geekslate were working with, and they had a 13,000 net worth lead at that stage in the game. This stage, well, at least in this game in particular, the max for them was only up to 10k, but it feels very reminiscent. The momentum starting to build for Dire.
It is, and I mean, they just somehow aren't able to take these super successful team fights. The
They're not going to do
coming
this, are
out,
they?
it's all going to be on the back of Palos, though. He was the big reason why they had that great start to the previous fight. Playing around the tree line. The vision right now for Geekslate isn't that great. They've only got the one Observer Ward to be able to play around inside of their own jungle, and they're not going to run the risk of defending the outpost there. Tino's super close to level 18 as well, so even another spike ready to come through for Execration. There's the resummon.
Dire's courier has been killed.
So, BKB Monkey King now as well.
Invisibility.
Just to have the freedom to just stand and fight against a Pangolier is huge. You know, you really don't care. You've got, I believe he's got the Hurricane Pike as well on the Lina. Yep. So everything is just set up right now for Execration to be able to go high ground, close this one out. And remember, if he gets a good Boundless Strike off onto anyone, he could choose to connect in onto it just to get that follow-up damage.
And they just completed the Scepter as well for the Dawnbreaker. So the team fighting gets really, really scary now in Execration.
Skem might be... Ooh, I was thinking maybe he's going to be hunting out for where Shanks might be farming and force out a bit more of a defensive movement so they don't have that Scepter available.
That'd be a great target if they can get him.
1 second away. Looks like he wants to stay out of the lane though. Not wanting to run the risk. Maybe catching him on his retreat through the jungle, but Skem right now seems a little bit more intent in just getting that jungle farm, building up. It's not like he's super close to his next item. I feel like a kill onto the Dawnbreaker would mean so much more.
That it would. I guess important is just that he's getting a lot of experience, so top, highest level in the game, so because we know what a level 25 Nature's Prophet can do just everywhere across the map is your mobility, so I guess that is kind of the one advantage of his farm continuing for Skem.
Yeah, I suppose. But, I mean, he is just staying as far away from these dangerous areas as possible. They've been missing off the map far too long on Execration for him to stay up on the top side. Narman's still going to do that job, and he's actually going to change tact a little bit here. I like where Shanks is positioning himself. If a fight was to break out, he wants to be able to get that Solar Guardian off without anything interrupting it. Oh, it's a lot harder to interrupt it now, though. I believe it's only the 1 second that it takes to go up into the air since picking up that Aghanim Scepter. So Narman would need to be in perfect position, and he sees him. He's right on top of him right now, underneath that Observer Ward, and well, they actually see the Observer, and they see Narman. So he's going to need to back off completely, play a lot more carefully. This is all the comms that Execration are going to be having right now, and look at that. Your favorite, Carlo's picked up a gem, just looking to choke the map out even further and recover this net worth lead.
Execration, they might consider higher ground. Bob just picked up a double damage rune. Minute left on the Aegis to work with. Scam's actually got to reveal his position.
They're pinging out Scam.
Yeah, that's a really aggressive TP. Maybe they can go high ground now, knowing he teleported. 10-second window there for them.
Radiant structures are fortified.
He'll be forced to glyph early. Bob's actually going to try and stand his ground. He might have the damage. Double force off. Gex Cox out of danger. 30 seconds left on the Aegis, so Bob 2 will be forced down to the low ground. It's a bit of a win. You get the tier 3 tower.
He really is still so close, though. Execration know that they're just inches away from being able to claw this game back, bring it to a game 5. They've played so much Dota today. This being their 7th game so far. You have to wonder, when's the exhaustion going to start to sink in?
Moment, it doesn't look like they're fatigued with being able to find a way back into this game. A 6,000 deficit. Team starting to build, but Geek Sleet. See Carlo, they see Tino, pretty good spot to take the fight. Forced into the middle with a Requiem combo. 2 go down. And gem in the hands of Geek Sleet now as well. Incredible fight for them to take. All set up thanks to the vision on the cliff, and Forces jump in.
But Scam's got up to his level 25 as well, so he can just be roaming around the map even more. He's... what's he finished up? See a Demon Edge. Okay, Monkey King bar as well for Scam. So the damage output from this man is absolutely bonkers right now. And, well, the thing that I'm most worried about is they weren't actually quick on the finger for the use of the Solar Guardian. Maybe thinking they just didn't have the turnaround potential to be able to go for the save there. But I really want to bring Shanks up to that level 18. It means so much if you're able to amplify it further with the additional heal pulses, with the Holy Locket combination. It's so much for Geek Slate to have to burst through without the Skadi, without anything other than the Spirit Vessel. It's just single target that's going to be nullified in effectiveness from the healing. Even look to buff it up further eventually on Shanks. Right now, of course, Lena's holding onto the Paladin sword, but can very easily just look to give that over to the Dawn for even more healing coming through. So you have to get through... what is this? A Halberd about to be picked up on Tino. Almost level 20 with his Aghanim Shard, Wraith Pact, AC, plus Solar Guardian, nearly level 18. It's a lot of sustain.
But it is not going to be an easy man to kill off at all. Execration off that fight, looking to try and get some map control back on their side. Double board down at Radiant's Triangle. They don't see anyone really at the moment.
Yeah, Cox doesn't even feel confident to leave the base right now.
Dire's courier has been killed.
They got the...
Dire's
Yeah.
bottom
Big.
tower is under attack.
No Halberd.
See if it's going to be a fast respawn or not. Potential for it to be up in 30 seconds. They have, again, done a very good job to at least get their vision set up beforehand, so we're going to see Geek Sleet look to smoke. The lane's in a great position for them to probably look to smoke towards the top side, get some vision down for themselves as well, because this game now, at least the next couple of minutes, is going to be all on who has control around the Roche Pit.
Kind of big too. push out this bottom lane. Like he's might be forcing some sort of attention back there. If they're able to take the tier 2 through some kind of clever play, they might be able to take back that
Look at
outpost.
Narman. We did just see Force.
I see Palos. Gotta be so careful. Any Lotus Orbs up on?
I don't believe so.
Oh, he's got a
Stormcraft is
Stormcraft,
nice. I think Carl
Nice
gave
little
it to him,
handover.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower
They're
is
getting any
under attack.
other... Doesn't look like any other tier 4. They're starting to TP onto
Trying to
Scam.
find it.
Well, Palace has got the
got
vision. Scam, oh, you have to cancel it. And they need to cut through the
Dash.
Sprout. Scam's actually going to stand his ground, but to no avail. They'll be able to punch him up to the sky, cancelling off the BKB. And so that's an opening now because Roche is up in 15 seconds.
Question is, do they know about it? That's where Narman's looking to position himself. Just so they've got that little bit of information that Execration don't have access to, of course. No cooldown on the global teleport. If he feels like he can influence the team fight, Scam will not hesitate to buy back, considering it's that second life on offer. Really want to see Carlo start to build into another item for himself, whether it be the Aghanim Scepter or the BKB. He's got to spend that money. Something like an Ogre Axe could be the difference in damage or HP for him to survive these fights. Well,
Okay, I don't know if they can do this. They might try with Rolling Thunder and Blinking from Cox, but just evaporates
Damn
and
it.
you gotta get out now.
Alice is running very
They're
fast
hunting.
just to try and catch up.
Yeah, and we'll get one. Palace holds Roger back, but a Force Staff gets him down to the south, and Force as well can swash away shortly.
Is under attack.
So they'll be okay. So third Roche? Third? Second?
Third,
What do we get?
Alice got the Aghanim Scepter.
Oh, gold. You got the...
The thing is, though, most of the heroes that he's up against are ranged, so I'm not sure if the Aghanim Scepter is going to be that.
Are they going to
Maybe
try and take the fight? Forces in with a combination. Lena is playing with the Aegis, but
Oh.
Bob stands strong. BKB Satanic, and he's okay.
Fortified.
Yeah, they've run out of that fiery soul, though, so Bob can't afford to just stand there, right-click, not like a machine gun, more like an artillery. And they are double damage spawning on the bottom side as well is going to make life a lot easier. Maybe they are going to just, again, consider that push into the Roche pit. But, again, Scam held his nerve, didn't buy back, so still has that potential for himself and the team. It's just a question of, is he going to get tempted to go up towards the top side instead? Take the quote-unquote lower value play, I think, and push down towards the bottom side where maybe Execration I think he's not going to be.
Money to burn.
Not even wanting to risk his life for more than a couple of seconds. Just get the treants out, use the Gleipnir, get back to base.
It's a scary territory to be in now for Geek Slate. You can't, I really, both sides can't make a lot of mistakes. Execration win one fight, these buildings evaporate with the heroes they have, but really, you can say the same thing about Geek Slate. The only thing for them is that if the fights are on their side of the map, then it will take them quite some time to get over to Execration's buildings. But 3,000 net worth lead. You have plenty of time to work with for the ages. It does look like though Geek Slate.
Ooh, look at this on the Shadow Fiend. Arcane Blink
All right.
coming through. So he just wants that really quick use of the Requiem. Prevent the save from coming through from the Dawnbreaker, from the Tusk. See if they can burst someone down 100 to 0. Palace would be target number
know.
1 if they could find him. Ooh, just off the mark.
Very nicely done. Playing around their ward, and Artino's actually going to drums in forward. They've also got Bob rapping. DD in the bottle. This is scary, Geek Slate, as Bob's actually going to force in forward. LSA's off the mark. Boundless strike as well, but Palace uses it to close the dis. They're going to take the fight. Force considering about going in. Cox as well with the Requiem. It's going to catch
Has
them
that
off
Arcane
guard.
Blink.
And now Bob, he used the BKB on the first life. Scam's going to look to TP in aggressively. He'll be able to get some distance out to the northern side, but they should be able to kill him off the once. But can they do it a second time, though? Carlo's going to look to jump on forward, but Scam's able to reposition. This is an awkward fight to take. Looks like Execration should be able to back themselves off thanks to kind of the cover that Tino provides them.
going to go back to base, but I really wouldn't have been surprised if he chose to make a play up towards the top side. You know, keep that lane pushed out, force someone to come back, spawn the treants, make a defensive movement happen, and then just immediately go bot lane. You know, just force out the map even further, get into that next item. But it is a big win coming through, being able to pick off Palos as quickly as they were. It was the reveal of the Arcane Blink, though, so you're not going to get too many better opportunities to stamp your foot on this game.
Well, they're going to look for another kill to potentially help out.
Scanning.
I think down bottom is Scam. Carlo does have a ward sentry set up if he's going to continue on up the lane, but instead will show himself, so continue on with a pretty even slate now that Execration lost the Aegis advantage. Guess it's really just... Oh. He's got the gem control at the moment. It is just Radiant. Roji's holding one gem. No? Smoke up, Execration, what can they do? They've got a great ward placement on this high ground. So they know exactly where Narman is.
Free kill.
And it is indeed. They will not get anything more out of it though, as Geek Slate instantly going to look to disperse away from the bottom side of the map.
Roger's stuck on the high ground, so he's just going to TP back. Anything big coming from him? I mean, level 20 on Force. Got to be careful here. Going into the Aeon disc next for Tino. I almost wonder, like, is this the sort of game where you want to go into something like a Scythe of Vice on Tino? Because next Roshan is going to have Refresher and Ags, and I feel like you give the Ags over to the Visage, you find that target on the backlines with the Silent as the Graven Viz, turn him into a sheep, and then just burst him down. You've got the damage for it.
Yep, that's a great call.
He's actually queued up the Aghanim Scepter just after that, but you know, again, I feel like he can wait.
Okay, I think this is another real big item that could be a potential for the Monkey King. Considering about a nullifier, you need a way to get rid of the Warcry on this one.
You can't.
Oh yeah, the shard.
Oh, I forgot. Oh no.
Yep. And level 20 on the Sven's coming too, so the plus 10 Warcry armor is going to be pretty damn devastating.
Snowbag getting a kill.
He's got the blast rig though on the Dawn, so he's going to make sure he doesn't TP too close to him. It's one of those times where you just don't know where on the map is safe to go out to.
As we get...
And quickly push the wave, use the Gleipnir, get back to base. That's been the MO for Scam for quite some time. Yeah, we're getting into his own level 28, so extra Treant Summon makes that Rat Dota.
Well, they're going to see Tino. Bob as well. Execration, they don't have everyone here nearby. Force with the jumping, Cox with the fall, but it's not going to be enough damage. Lina's going to be okay for the moment. Off to the right side, Scam's in trouble. He's going to be able to force off outside the Wuxgon's command. He's going to try and stand his ground and fight, but he's bashed and controlled and won't be able to live. And now Cox might be in trouble as well. Can they catch any more out? Successful retreat with the 3 remembers on Geek Sleep, but their high ground soon to be besieged.
Radiant's middle tower is
With everyone available as well. That is the last glyph that they've got this game from the tower refresh. And oh, you've got a Boots of Bearing as well on the Visage. You've got multiple components for that Aghanim Scepter coming out to him right now.
under attack.
Gotta make sure you actually swing it past the old secret shop though. Just gonna deliver a bunch of useless items into your backpack.
I don't know how they start the fight and then get the Nature's Prophet buyback. If you buy back straight away, Execration retreat. But how do you ever start? I guess Rolling Thunder's up in 10 seconds, so maybe that's going to be just before they walk up to this high ground.
Seconds. I mean, I'm just thinking, can they stall it out for 30?
Oh, look at Tino. He's going to see Roger in the tree line. Down goes to Sven, but now they've got pretty firm control of this high ground.
Look at the damage.
Radiant's top tower.
They're just going to hold it, looks like.
Just wait for the
Roger with the
Arcane
jump.
Blink, man.
So it's going to be the Sven that starts, and Force will fall up as well. Look at it bounce back, but again, the Solar Guardian completely neglects the instant jump, and now Cox is in trouble. A buyback is there. Let's see what they can do now. Execration trying to get further outside the base. They're moving towards Alina's location, but Bob's going to be fine except the turnaround's there. Abyssal Blade locks Scam into place. Roji's going to go down as well. There's just nothing Geek Slate can do. All the members starting to crumble. They can walk back up the high ground and get the mega creeps.
One last chance. Cox just trying to get a few more souls from the creeps in the lane. There's nothing for him to claim on the bottom side. One last attempt with the Arcane Blink, you would assume is the way that he's going to go about it, but Tino might find them instead.
It's got to be huge, man.
They just don't have anything.
He's going to go for it. Jump in direct middle. But an Abyssal Blade from Palos. Great reactions out of the BKB. Yes, they might even get Bob. And they won't, in fact. Satanic up to full. And we are going to win Game 5. It's only fitting to see who will be crowned champions of the 13th iteration of the Pro Series.